Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and by the end of this video, you're going to have a lot of things that get tied together in your mind about what all has gone on. And they never ever thought that we would put all this together, but we did. Now, before I get going though, I want to tell you about my sponsor, Link2. Now listen, a lot of people don't think about. At some point, this Ripple case is going to be over. Link2 this is the last time they're doing the XRP promo, where they'll give you $1,000 worth of XRP when you buy a Ripple equity. And people aren't thinking about it, but the Ripple private equity, when this thing is over, all of a sudden, I believe it'll disappear, and you won't be able to get it until they go public. And so if you haven't gone, if you think you might be an accredited investor, or you are, and you hadn't opened an account, you might want to go do it and take advantage of this. It's going to be done this weekend, Sunday at midnight Pacific, I think. They're going to not run the deal anymore, so you might want to go check it out. All right, we've got some pretty darn bullish tweets coming out. Crypto Bull, I haven't seen anything out of him in a while. I just wanted to show you this. Again, I'm no chart guy, but I like showing charts by people who do that stuff and dreaming, He says, is XRP going to $72? I sure hope he's right. I sure hope it does do that. But then this one right here is interesting, because this is a type of chart I've never seen before by all these chart guys. And so I wanted to show you this one, Eric Crypto. And he's got these circles that he's drawn, and I don't even know what all of these mean, but it looks interesting. And he's got these numbers: fib channel and fib circle, confluence targets 13. So he mentions 72, which is the same thing that Crypto Bull saw here. And so, but then he goes as high as $2,255. Condition: do not lose 10-cent XRP. In the next 5 days, we will tweet out how we constructed this chart and bisect each segment. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's pretty interesting. And then Digital Perspectives made a comment on the fact that Ripple's buying XRP. So Ripple continues to buy back XRP off the secondary market, and that's from their quarterly markets report, folks. They state they're solely engaged in selling to ODL related businesses only. Question: where will retail exchanges get XRP? Question: how long will it take to run out, and what will the price be when it does? These are all good questions. Now, Laura Shin has all of a sudden got now she's supposedly a crypto journalist, but she didn't have anything to say about the SEC when it was just Ripple being sued. But now that they're doing the insider trading lawsuit against Coinbase, and they're calling ERC tokens that are built on Ethereum securities, now all of a sudden she's very concerned. So now she's having people from the Blockchain Association, who also did nothing to support Ripple, and because they're concerned too, very concerned.
Even though the SEC states that one of their goals is to promote innovation, it's really doing the opposite, and it's making entrepreneurs, developers, entities really hesitant to do business in the US, because there's no guidance whatsoever. So, the last guidance was in April of 2019. And since then, there hasn't been anything except for these enforcement actions. So they're in a tough spot, and they're really guessing. And what makes it worse is that the SEC has said in public statements to the media that companies should come in and talk to them and seek guidance directly. And there have been instances of that. And then the SEC will send a subpoena or request depositions and then file an enforcement action against them, rather than actually help guide the company to be compliant.
Well, Marissa, who's been saying that for over a year now? And where have you been? Nowhere. And same for this guy. Jake Travinsky's all concerned again. all of a sudden, even though the SEC states that one of its goals is to promote innovation, it's really doing the opposite. Folks, I think that you are right now witnessing capitulation. These people, we forced them into a corner for one thing. Once the SEC, I think that two things are happening in conjunction. One is that the SEC is all of a sudden going after their precious Ethereum-based tokens, and I think that that was their wake-up call. But guess what? I don't think that ever happens unless the XRP army community, whatever you want to call it, comes along and exposes what's going on. I think that this, you could very well be seeing Gary, knowing that we have exposed what's going on, he might be saying, hey, if I go after an ERC20 token, maybe that'll provide us some cover so I don't have to go after Ethereum. You see what I'm saying? And so all of a sudden it's forced some of these people who are Bitcoin Ethereum maxis to come in and act like they care, or show that they might be a little concerned. What if he goes after Ethereum itself? But in any event, the bottom line is none of them lifted a finger. And now all of a sudden they're even inviting Brad Garlinghouse to their conferences. So you have to wonder if they're wanting to cover their butts because of what they've done, which is nothing. Now, Real XRP Boy put this out, and I think this says government blockchain something, like it's a government blockchain association or something like that. Listen to what she says.
Now been in the federal courts for over a year. There's been a lot of back and forth. We have communities that are, we have the Bitcoin maximalists, and I imagine there are a few of you here in this room, but there are also Ripple maximalists. This is been a lot of back and forth.
I want to correct that. I am not a Ripple maximalist. What I am is a utility maximalist, and that's what's been the big lie in all of this. Is the two things that freaking don't work, Bitcoin and Ethereum, they've tried to portray as these things that are better and way out in front. They're only out in front because of the shenanigans that have been pulled.
I imagine there are a few of you here in this room, but there are also Ripple maximalists. But this is still out there, and to be honest with you, I think as this case goes, I think the SEC is sitting on a number of other cases that have the same kind of issue underlying it, and where probably the potential plaintiffs in or defendants in those cases have signed statute of limitations waivers. Because guess what? If you count 2017, when a lot of these ICOs happened, it's 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22. Whoa, that's 5 years. Statute of limitations is about to run on a bunch of these. So the question is, how big is their file of statute of limitation waivers that they have sitting there, all sort of timed off of what's going to happen with this case. So it's an important case. It's going to be a watershed. It may or may not go to the Supreme Court, but it's certainly...
What's interesting about what she just said is if the statute of limitations runs on a lot of these in 2022, makes you wonder if Gary Gensler needs this case to be over and have the resolution he needs in 2022, which would mean you could get something, some type of a settlement or whatever, come out of nowhere. I don't know if settlement's the word, but you could have something come out of nowhere. I don't know. We shall see. Now, let's tie it all together. You want to see what's been done, folks? Here we go. Brian Costelli says, nowhere has China corruption been more damaging than at the Securities and Exchange Commission, which regulates wealth. Former Chairman Jay Clayton and top advisor Bill Hinman made a fortune working on Alibaba Group as lawyers before taking helm at the SEC under Trump. Now, so remember this week we had that article, and I thought it was kind of weird. They said they were talking about how China had tried to infiltrate the Federal Reserve, and I'm thinking, well, that doesn't surprise me, but the blatant China connections in the SEC is like way bigger than that. It makes me wonder if that article about the Federal Reserve was floated to distract away from how blatant what's going on at the SEC is, because you don't have to take my word for it. First of all, here's Bill Hinman with Jack Ma, okay, when Alibaba went public. Let's go through it. Then Cowboy Crypto had posted this picture. David Bloss, William Hinman, this is Hinman, there's Jack Ma, that's Lei Ming Chen. Lei Ming Chen is ex-chairman and he was at Simpson Thacher, I think out of their Hong Kong office. Now he's the senior VP counsel at Ant Group during the Alibaba IPO, okay? So now let's go to the next thing. Stefan Huber, Simpson Thacher officially represented Ant Financial. Remember, Ant Financial owns Alibaba in its deal with MoneyGram. Okay, I got interrupted with a phone call, so let me see if I can get my train of thought going here again. All right, so this is from Stefan Huber. You got to remember, it's important. So MoneyGram, Ant Financial wanted to buy MoneyGram. This is when Trump was president, and Trump's government shut it down. It wouldn't let the deal go through. Okay, and remember, you've got, I'll show you all this stuff. Ant Financial and MoneyGram enter into a $1.2 billion amended merger agreement. MoneyGram signs deal to work with, and this is, once that deal fell through, and this is important to understand, that's when Ripple got in business with MoneyGram. MoneyGram spikes up 25% to partner with Ripple on tests, okay? So then you got this. This is John Deaton. I put up this video of JP Morgan's Christine Moy the other day, and John Deaton tweeted that, replied to it here. JP Morgan was working with Consensus. From the beginning, Clayton's firm Sullivan Cromwell represented Consensus, whose deputy GC was hired from Sullivan Cromwell. August 2020, S&C brokered Consensus, acquiring JP Morgan Coin, direct competitor to Ripple and XRP. Clayton voted for the case versus Ripple. And you'll see right down here, crypto assets designed for inter or intrabank payments and settlements, examples JPM Coin and XRP. And by the way, notice that nobody, no regulator, nobody ever mentions JPM Coin. It's crypto, it's blockchain. Nobody ever says a word. Do you hear Gary Gensler critiquing that? Now, back to JP Morgan. So this is Christine Moy at the Singapore FinTech Festival. This was held on December 7th, 2020 through December 11th, 2020. So about 10 days before Ripple, Jay Clayton drops a lawsuit on Ripple and walks out the door. I'm having phone calls, I'm having tech issues, but here we go.
System. Following the Link network, our major program of work is focused on building out JP Morgan Coin and clearing networks. We've spent the past year working on blockchain-based core banking systems to make global payments more seamless, efficient, and programmable. While building the technology was certainly difficult, the hardest part was working through the various internal and external approvals required for legal and regulatory treatment of the blockchain-based deposit system. We are proud to announce that we are now live and able to facilitate cross-border transfers for corporate clients 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, without being limited by traditional local cutoff times and pre-funding requirements. Additionally, we are continuing the US dollar multi-currency payments clearing system work that we announced with the Monetary Authority of Singapore as part of the Project Ubin Phase 5 last year, building a multi-bank shared ledger to enable cross-border and multi-currency payment settlements that are real-time and atomic for the Asian region.
All right. And so then I went on to JP Morgan's site. Now this, look, if you've been following ETHgate, this is going to put it all together. As we watch it, I'm going to pause to show you everything to make you understand what we're talking about.
Blockchain is disrupting existing ways of thinking and doing business. JP Morgan has been a pioneer in blockchain innovation since 2014.
2014. Now that's the same year that Ethereum comes about. And we've been saying that Joseph Lubin said that they were working with Ethereum since before the public mainnet launch. So now you're hearing it directly from JP Morgan. 2014, the Ethereum, I think the Ethereum ICO was 2014 or 15. I can't remember which year. But the bottom line is JP Morgan was there. So watch.
Building everything from foundational infrastructure to commercialized applications, with a mission to rewire and reimagine.
You see that right there? Web 3.0. That word did not, words mean things. That word did not come out of nowhere. All of the people in this ETHgate drama, the timeline, all of them, what do they say? Web 3, Web 3, Web 3. Same thing, same people.
Banking for the digital age. We developed Quorum, a private blockchain protocol that empowers businesses to build high-performance applications at scale. And today, as Consensus...
And there's Consensus, Joseph Lubin, right there, Quorum.
It's used by hundreds of enterprises across multiple industries. We launched Link, the world's first bank-led peer-to-peer network, helping institutions exchange data quickly and securely, reducing costs and delays, and unlocking new opportunities to monetize data. Our Coin Systems team built a next-generation payments network that powers instant transfer and clearing of multi-bank, multi-currency assets 24/7.
Who is that? That looks like Ant Financial. That looks like the same Ant Financial. Remember Bill Hinman in the picture I showed you a minute ago, taking Alibaba public? Who owns Alibaba? Ant Financial. Who tried to buy MoneyGram? Ant Financial. When the U.S. government made it fall through, who works a deal with them? Ripple. Is this all making sense yet?
Established partier with DBS and Temasek to help accelerate cross-border value movements for payments, trade, and foreign exchange. And we deployed the first ever programmable payments proof of concept to automate funds movement using preset triggers set by the client. Moving Treasury from a static to a responsive, dynamic entity. Blockchain is also changing the game for investors. Our Onyx digital assets platform enables the tokenization of securities for instantaneous exchange. Together with JP Morgan Markets, we're executing intraday repurchase transactions with hundreds of billions of notional value executed to date. And proving innovation knows no boundaries, we completed the world's first tokenized
That reminds me of Ripple's commercial where they've got an astronaut in outer space doing payments.
Transfer in orbit.
Sending money.
Onyx is at the forefront of a major shift.
Look, have you noticed that there's X's there in the background? That's
architecting new platforms for commerce, accelerating trade and payment flows, broadening access to liquidity via tokenization, and empowering clients to automate the way they transfer funds on a worldwide scale. We see a new landscape where information, assets, and value flow seamlessly between physical, digital, and virtual worlds, across borders, in outer space, and even in the metaverse.
Now, who's been talking about the metaverse? And yes, that is a picture of Jamie Dimon on the wall right there.
We are transforming the future of banking.
Now, next question is, this is a great theory here. I love this theory by Stefan Huber. This guy's asking, why would JP Morgan not just buy Ripple? They would have everything in XRP. Good question. My theory, Ripple is financed by investors who want to overturn the existing system and who would not sell. The escrow also plays a role in the marketing, making the price of the company as high as possible after IPO to prevent takeover by incumbents. Then this guy replied to that video I put out. So that explains why SEC and Gary Gensler meet with JP Morgan regularly. We've shown you his public calendar, Gary Gensler's public calendar. He's meeting with Jamie Dimon all the time. He meets with JP Morgan regularly to keep them updated on the Ripple XRP lawsuit progress and how long they need for the lawsuit to be delayed to give them time to get a head start. We over the target yet, folks? Is it possible there are some JP Morgan email addresses in those documents the SEC is hiding? Brad Garlinghouse said this recently.
Keep in mind what the SEC does. They demand disclosure from the companies they regulate, and they won't disclose anything. They had a judge 14 months ago, tell them they need to disclose the notes associated with this very famous speech that happened 4 years ago saying that Ether is not a security. What are they hiding? Yeah, it's been 14 months and they're still fighting to hide those notes.
All right, what are they hiding? And then you think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden Brad Garlinghouse starts getting invited to Masari? I think a lot of these people are going into A-word covering mode, A-word as my son would say, my 10-year-old. But this is Masari, who they're all involved with, all these freaking people, the ETHgate and all of this. Masari is one of the companies that's been right there in the middle of all of it. And now they're inviting Brad Garlinghouse to a conference to be on stage and talk to Ryan Selkis. And you're going to have Mike Novogratz there, Christine Moy, who was with JP Morgan, but guess where she is now? Apollo Global. And by pure coincidence, that's the same, she runs their digital assets. That's the same company that Jay Clayton is at now. All coincidences. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that get your popcorn ready, because this is going to be interesting. Thanks for